Paging Student Doctor.
Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Young Physicians Network podcast. My name is Eric. I'm a fourth-year medical student from ATSU University, and I'll be talking today about competition, which, as you can imagine, is a very broad subject. My goal is to sort of orient this towards a first-year perspective and talk about things I wish I would have done, things that I did do, and things that ultimately helped me set up my audition rotations and plan out my residency application. We'll start at the basics and we'll go from there. So one of the first things you can do to be a competitive applicant when it comes to medical school is to not only get good grades, but to understand these systems and these pathologies from a basic component. If you can understand the building blocks, you can move from there. You'd be surprised how many test questions, how many board questions you can succeed in by understanding the basics, the building blocks, and then reasoning through the questions and the answers. Now, this isn't a lecture on testing strategies. This is a lecture on competitiveness. But by understanding how to test, getting good grades, you'll ultimately develop a good class rank. If your school does overall GPAs, a good GPA, and good board scores. The first boards, as of a couple years ago, are now pass-fail. And with this change, we have one less value to measure ourselves against. The reason that a lot of organizations have come out and said that this is a great thing is because it allows us a more holistic approach to applicants. It allows us to show that we're more than our GPAs, we're more than these test scores, which on one hand is awesome. I think that's amazing. On the other hand, it is one less number that kind of shows where we're at. So with that, things like GPA, things like class rank do matter, and things like our step 2 scores do matter, and level 2 scores do matter. Now, as a first-year student, I wouldn't worry too much about your boards yet, whether that be level 1, step 1, or level 2, step 2. But do well in your classes. You know this. Develop a good class rank, develop a good GPA, and that's really all I want to say about academics because there's so much more to get through, and that seems to be the most basic sense, right? So now we'll pivot into clubs and organizations and volunteering. So there already is a podcast talking about clubs, so I'll kind of leave that to them. But I will say when you're joining organizations, when you're joining clubs, the goals should be to, one, make friends, find people that are interested in the same specialty as you, that you can network with, that can mentor you, or later on, maybe you'll mentor them. Do things that interest you. Don't do them just because you want to add this to your resume or your CV. You should be able to speak to all the clubs that you're in, and that's part of being competitive as well, right? If I'm in 100 clubs, but I can't tell you a single thing about 2 of them, that's a problem. But if I'm in 2 to 3 clubs and I can talk to you a half hour about how much fun I had doing OMM here, how much enjoyment I got out of weightlifting with this group of people every week, that speaks more to your character. It speaks more to your personality. And it shows that you were really invested and really loved what you were doing, which is great. Now, that's one type of club, more of a volunteer or a recreational. There's other clubs that are geared towards helping you discover what kind of physician you want to be. And if you haven't found that out yet, that's okay. A lot of people take longer. Some people come in right away and they know exactly what kind of doc they're going to be. I envy them. I was not one of those people. And if you are, more power to you. And if you're not, that's okay. You can use clubs to find that out. But clubs are great to really de-stress from classes. And that has a competitive edge in itself as well, right? If you're stressed out all the time, that's going to affect your performance. But having outlets, doing things that you enjoy, are important, and I think clubs are a big part of that. Showing that you can work in an organization is great too. Showing that you can help with the organization is good. So if you find a club that you're very interested in, that you enjoy the work that they do, go and be a first-year representative if they have that option, and apply to be on the exec board, whether that's the treasurer or the secretary. Doesn't really matter. Everyone has a different role to play, right? So if you're not the president, that doesn't mean, I can't put that on my CV. That's not worth doing. No, that's not it at all. I mean, each position is a little different. Each position has its value, and the club can't function without everybody. So I would highly recommend finding 1 or 2, 3 clubs that you feel like you can commit the time to, you feel like you really enjoy or invested in their work, and seek out opportunities to be a part of that club. If they have a national component, go to the conferences. That's also a great opportunity to network, to learn, and to meet other people that have a similar interest in areas of medicine that you do. So that's all I'll really say about the clubs and organizations. From here, I'd like to take a second to talk about maintaining professional relationships, not only with your professors, with physicians that you know, but also your classmates. Being involved in your class, I think, is a great advantage for anyone, right? Having someone that you can talk to, having people that are going through the same thing you are, who are interested in similar field. It's great to have people that can help you make connections or introductions into different areas of medicine, because it's a big, small field, right? If I know John, and John knows that I'm interested in specialty X, and he happens to have a cousin, a brother, a mentor who knows someone in that field, well, that's a great opportunity I wouldn't have had otherwise. Beyond that, being involved in your class is also a very, I think, underrated component to being a competitive applicant. It's one of those soft skills, or an opportunity to develop the soft skill of being social, right? You'd be surprised how many times as a medical student you'll find yourselves at a representative dinner, or maybe at a conference where you're sitting with other physicians, and you need to know how to conduct yourself. You need to develop those social skills. That's one thing medical school, I think, is very good at dulling. When we sit in classes all day and study all night, we don't practice those social skills. So being able to talk to your classmates, being able to attend university-sponsored get-togethers are important, right? Because we need to be able to socialize. You need to be able to communicate, not only for our connections and networking, but also for our patients. We need to be normal people that are approachable and that you can speak to. When you start your third and fourth year rotations, you'll be able to surprise. A lot of times you'll ask residents, what's the most important advice you can give me as someone who's going to go into an audition, who's going to go into an interview? And more than not, they're going to tell you, be yourself and be a normal person. And that will take you a long way. You should be someone that is approachable, someone who is kind, and someone who can communicate clearly. And that will take you far. And now you're saying, Eric, thank you so much. I'm the valedictorian of my class. I'm the most social person on earth, and I'm in 3 great clubs. I'm the president of all of them. I'm having a fantastic time. And for that, I say, congrats to you, first year medical student. You're doing fantastic. But there's more that we can do, and there's more that we can get done to increase your competitiveness in your application. So now going forward, let's talk a little bit about research. So people hear research and they get this big frown on their face. They say, "No, Eric, no, I'm not a researcher. I'm a young physician. I'm a young medical student, and I want to do medicine. I don't want to do research." And I say to you, I understand. I get that. But no, we're going to do some research. So how do we do research? How do we get involved? One of the easiest ways to do it is to approach some academic faculty at your university. Come with them with an idea, ideally in a subject that you're interested in. Say you're extremely interested in a certain disease, a certain mechanism of action. If you're in anatomy, a certain structure. Approach that instructor and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed your lecture. I'm really interested in this. Is there some research that I can help you on involving this, or do you know someone that is?" Either they'll be able to point you in the right direction, or maybe they'll take you on to one of their own projects. Alternatively, you could also approach older students at your university, be that second, third, or fourth years. A lot of them will be conducting research, and they could use help with statistic gathering, with writing up a certain aspect of a paper or presentation. And barring that, you can also reach out to attending physicians. If you send a nice, courteous email, most physicians won't mind if you inquire about research. Be prepared to be met with a no, and that's not at the end of the world. We can reach out to others, but I mean, if that's the only option you have, I don't think anyone's going to fault you for doing that. Contacting residents and other people is also fine. Just make sure you go about it in a polite, courteous way, not in a demanding or entitled sense, and that'll take you a long way too. Research doesn't need to be a daunting, horrific process. It can be simple. It could be a case presentation. It could be a poster presentation, or it could be something you decide to write up with friends that you can publish. Finding something that you're interested in or is at least related to something you're interested in is one of the secrets to making research something that is enjoyable and not something we just have to do to check boxes. Whenever it comes time for applications to residency, they can also see through that, right? Like if you conduct research, it should be something that you were interested in doing, something that you were passionate about, at least pieces of the process, if not the whole project. And research doesn't necessarily need to be conducted by everybody. If you're wanting to go into something specialized, something competitive, or if you're not sure what you want to do, getting some research is probably a good idea. That's not to say you need to have 35 publications. No, just a couple projects will do, whether they're oral presentations or poster presentations, all of that's fine. But having some understanding of how research is conducted is a good idea for the roundedness and kind of the holistic approach of your application. Bring it back full circle, you could also find some great research opportunities at these clubs you're joining with people that have similar specialty interests as you, or people that are at these conferences that you may attend. You could approach a researcher there and tell them, hey, I listened to your lecture. I thought your research was very interesting. I'm just kind of getting started and don't have much experience with research, but is there a way that I could help you with this project, or do you know someone who needs help with that project? Those are two great ways to get started with research as well. So now we'll kind of take a step backwards. We've talked a little bit about academics, we've talked about clubs, we've talked about being social, and we've talked about research. These are some of the core foundations to being a competitive applicant for anything in medicine going forward. But let's now focus on you. Each one of you came into medical school with a specific personality, with goals, with interests, and with hobbies. One thing that you can do to set yourself apart and for yourself too is to maintain your hobbies. Whatever you enjoy doing before medical school, don't give it up. Don't let it slip and keep it around. Keep doing it. One, because you enjoy it. One, because it's going to keep you grounded, keep you from burning out, but also because it's a great thing. It makes you different than your fellow medical student. It makes you different than some of the other people applying. And it can literally be anything. Some of the more common ones are cooking or hiking, but some people enjoy playing video games. Some people enjoy yo-yoing at a competitive level. Others came into medical school very accomplished dancers, violinists, things like that. And you shouldn't let that aspect of your life go away just because you're in medical school. It also gives you something that you can talk about, something that you can maintain and show that, hey, I'm a whole person. I'm not just a walking textbook. I'm not just an excellent student. I'm a very unique and well-rounded person. And that goes a lot further than most people think as well. And if you don't have hobbies, it's never too late to gather one. I wouldn't recommend getting a hobby just to have something to talk about for your applications, but for yourself. Take up running, try a new skill, get into baking if you enjoy eating. Anything will work. You can do whatever you want. Just something to take the edge off of a hard day, something to show that, hey, this is fun. I like this. It's not medicine, but it's me. It's unique. So now you're a super accomplished researcher, valedictorian, crazy, interesting, with great unique hobbies and great clubs that you can speak on. Congratulations, you're very well rounded. One other thing we should start to consider now that we're getting towards the middle or end of our first year is whether or not we'd be interested in doing an undergraduate fellowship. A lot of schools will offer these. They're different in each location. Some will do it between their second and third years, other between 3 and 4, and some even after their fourth year to come back and teach. Each offering is a little different. At ATSU, the core offerings are in osteopathic theory and methods, anatomy, and medical education. And each one is unique. Each one has a different set of skills. Each one has a different experience, but a lot of times, some of the pieces are similar. So the classes we teach are different, but you get a lot of opportunities to teach students to build on those professional presentation skills, which are great. You can put those down on your CVs, on your resume, so they build in that sense. Also, often you're able to conduct some research in this time in areas that you're interested in. And in my case, as an OMM fellow, it also gave me the opportunity to hold my own clinic and treat my own patients. These are great opportunities if you're interested in them to build professional relationships with physicians who maybe can write you letters of recommendation, to practice some of your softer skills, or to boost your resume as you go forward. thoroughly enjoyed mine, and if you are interested in doing one, I think you should look into it more. They're great opportunities to diversify your own application and to talk on a set of skills that you've developed. Some advice if you're going to apply to a fellowship, I would recommend doing well in that area before you go to apply. A lot of times the selections are competitive and they're wanting people that are accomplished in that area to help teach incoming students. It's also a great opportunity to mentor some incoming students to help them in areas, and in that sense, it's very rewarding. In my case, I really enjoyed teaching, so it was very nice to go through and see students that were interested in my subject or to get them interested in it if they weren't. It also allowed me to sort of develop my skills as an educator and to challenge myself with difficult situations as far as teaching areas I didn't know the most about, and answering difficult questions, and to be there as a mentor for students who might be struggling in academics or their personal life, or to just be a friendly face on test day. It was extremely rewarding, but it comes with its own kind of cons as well. You add a year onto medical school, so this is a year you can really get a lot done to set yourself apart, but it also makes medical school a little longer. So you have to ask yourself, are you okay with adding on an extra year? And if you are, you need to make sure that you work hard and you have something to show for that extra year of teaching and research and things like that. But it's a great opportunity all around, and one that I think you should consider doing if you have an interest in it. So now we've touched on most of the basic things that I would consider as a first-year student for my competitive application moving forward. There are great resources that you can look into, and I think it's never too late to look into these, is to search NRMP match data. It'll provide a lot of different statistics on all the years of the match. I believe the 2025 statistics are already out, but say I was interested in being a orthopedic surgeon or internal medicine doctor or a pediatrician. I could search the match, the National Residency Matching Program, charting outcomes, and this is going to provide a lot of statistical information about specific specialties. Not all of them are on there, but most. And it'll tell me things like how many people applied to that specialty last year, how many matriculated, and some of their metrics like board scores for level in step 1, level in step 2. It'll show me some things like the average number of research publications, the average number of oral presentations, things like that. It can help you kind of gauge how competitive you are for specialty just barely solely based off of the metrics. That's not to say if you fall underneath those metrics, you shouldn't apply, or that if you are above those metrics that you're guaranteed to get accepted. It just gives you an idea academically of where you fall. But it's important to realize that anytime you're applying to a specialty, these are holistic reviews of applicants, and no one is guaranteed a place and no one is guaranteed a rejection. Another great source by the NRMP is the advanced data tables. It's more of a broad view of every specialty and shows you just kind of the raw numbers. If you like data and you like charts, it's a great idea to check these resources early and just for your curiosity every year to see how their trends are moving throughout a specialty. I found it useful and interesting going forward whenever I was a first and second year student. And with that, I think I'll wrap up my sage fourth year wisdom. If there's anything that you'd like to discuss that I didn't cover here today, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'll go ahead and drop that in the bio as well with the NRMP link. I'm more than willing to talk further about competitiveness, just check in to see where you're at, or just talk to other med students who might be going through a similar process as me or just starting. Like all the other podcast hosts, I'm here to support you in any way that I can. And I'll leave you with this. You all are embarking on a great career and a great profession. First year can seem a little overwhelming, but going forward, you'll get your feet underneath you, the pieces will start to fill into place, and you'll be more and more competitive with each day. So hang in there, don't worry, and do the best that you can. Thank you for tuning in to the Young Physician Network podcast.